Welcome. I've done a bunch of different videos on apt-cacher-ng, and it's a app package management cache. And I'll put a link in the description of those videos. In this video, I'm going to be transferring my apt-cacher-ng config from a virtual machine, and I'm moving it to the Docker on my Synology NAS. I don't know how many people are going to need to do this exact thing, but maybe someone watching this will want to do something similar and will use some tips from my video. So on the left here I have my Synology NAS, and on the right I'm logged into a virtual machine, and this virtual machine happens to be on the Synology NAS, but this could be a Raspberry Pi, a standalone computer, a virtual machine on a different system. It could be any Linux machine. It just happens to be running on the same Synology NAS. And then on this NAS also has a Docker running apt-cacher-ng. So the virtual machine one here on the right, the virtual machine gives it its own IP address, and the Docker one is using the IP address of the Synology NAS. So we see here, we have it. I'll go to containers here. And first thing I need to do is turn this off. So I'll go over here and turn it off. Next I want to turn the virtual machine one off. So to do that I'll type sudo space system ctl space stop space apt-cacher-ng. I'll hit enter. It'll ask for my password. Okay, so now it's off on both systems. So I'll minimize Docker on my Synology NAS. If I go into File Station, when I set this up, I made a share called apt-cacher-ng. And this share is available via SMB. So if I go into Control Panel and File Services, you can see I have SMB turned on here. So I made a previous video on accessing files on a NAS from a virtual machine. So I'm going to be following those directions to connect up my apt-cacher-ng to the apt-cacher-ng Docker. So I'll clear my screen here. I'll make this a little bigger. So the first thing I need to do is install syfs utils. So I'll type sudo space apt space install space syfs dash utils. I'll hit enter. I'll say yes. So we just ran into a problem here. I shut the cache off and it wants to use the cache. So I'll turn the cache on temporarily real quick. So that's something I'll need to take into consideration. Any of my Linux machines that are pointing to this cache, I'll have to make sure they're pointing to the new one. So that's not working right now. I'll go back here and I'll stop this. I'll clear my screen. I'll type sudo space nano space /etc /apt /apt.conf.d /oo-apt proxy. And I'll just put a # in front of this. I'll save it with Control O, exit with Control X. Now I'll type sudo space apt space update. Now I'll run my command again. I'll type sudo space apt space install space syfs utils. Okay, I'll clear my screen. Next I need to create a mount point. I'll say sudo space mkdir space /mnt /apt-cacher-ng. I'll hit enter. I'll scroll down here to the mount share command. And on this one I need to change my share. And that's also the name on my Synology NAS, so I'll change it there too. And I need to put the IP address of the NAS. And the rest of this is already set up for me, so I'll hit enter. It'll ask for my password. I'll type that in. And there we go. So I'll clear my screen. I'll go into that directory. And I see these two files here. It says uburep and _xstore. So I'll just move these into a directory. I'll type mkdir space old space acn apt-cacher-ng, and then I'll say move uburep and _xstore to old acn. I'll type ls space -al. I'll make sure there are no hidden files here. It just has ds store. That's something my Mac added. Actually, I can remove that. So this directory is ready to go. So I'll clear my screen. Now I need to go to the directory that this system uses to store its cache. So I'll type cd space /var/cache/. See, we see inside of here we have apt-cacher-ng, so I'll go into that. And here we have the apt-cacher-ng data. I'll type du space -sh space period /. Okay, we have 21 gigabytes. So I ran that command so I could see how much was in this directory. So I'll clear my screen. So now I want to copy the files here over to the share. So you can use a couple different commands. You can use copy. I like to use rsync, so I can type rsync space -av, and A will make it recursive and V will make it verbose, and then I'll do N, and N means do a dry run. That checks everything out before I actually run the command. So I want to do everything in this directory, so I'll type space, asterisk, space, and now I want to do our mount. So I'll do /mount, hung for a second, okay, /apt-cacher-ng. Okay, I'll hit enter. And this is simulating the copy, okay? So it says dry run down here, so that worked. If it gave me errors or something didn't look right, I would figure that out. So now I'll run it without the N. So the nice thing about using rsync is if this fails, I can go back and start it over again and it will start where it left off. So this will probably take a while. I'll probably stop the video and come back after it's finished. And I can log into another instance to see how this is doing. Okay, so it did 475 megabytes so far. So this should actually transfer relatively fast because it's on the same box, so it doesn't have to actually go out on the network. But it could be a little slower because it's reading from one drive using one system to another system using the same drives, so they're going to have to access those at the same time. That can be a little tricky. Okay, that's finished up. I wasn't paying attention to the time. I don't know, it took quite a while. So now I want to go back into the DSM. And I'll go to Docker. I'll choose the container. And I'll turn the apt-cacher-ng back on. Okay, so that's back on. Now to test if it works, I'll just go to the old apt-cacher-ng and I'll configure it to use the new one and see if it works. So I'll go into etc apt app.conf.d. I'll type sudo nano apt proxy. I'll remove my number sign. I'll go here and I'll change this to 2, which is the IP address of my Synology NAS. Control O to save, Control X to exit. I'll type sudo space apt update. I'll type sudo space apt space upgrade. Okay, the update completed, so it looked good. It used the cache, it worked well. I'll need to go onto my other systems and change that too. Now this was my old apt-cacher-ng, so I'll just shut it down. And that was probably taking about 21 gigabytes, maybe 23, I don't know, gigabytes of my NAS's hard drive space on a virtual machine, and it's shut down now, so it's not taking any processor resources. I could leave that image there and pull it up later if I wanted to, like if the Docker version of apt-cacher-ng wasn't working, I could bring up the virtual machine again and bring it back online. It would not be a problem. And if I find out that the Docker version is working incredibly well, I can delete the virtual machine and recover that space. But I have a lot of space on this NAS. It's not a big issue right now. You could also do the reverse process. You could connect it up the exact same way, and you could copy the files from the NAS to the virtual machine or some other machine like a Raspberry Pi or a standalone computer. So I don't know if this video will help a lot of people, but I wanted to document what I'm doing here just in case. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.